pretty surreal to be at this point here this afternoon. A lot went into this week. I think with this being Thanksgiving week is pretty appropriate. This morning when we were at breakfast, we talked about mental approach, the things that we wanted to focus on as we dove into this afternoon and went out to the field and competed. Before we stepped foot on the bus, it was important to me to remind our guys to take a minute and pause and reflect on all that we have to be grateful for. I think that when we make that a reflexive posture and something where we react to outcomes into situations, it's way different than when we're proactive in that posture. It's been something that our team has talked about since the early onset of training camp to be grateful, to embrace what that looks like. And I think at the end of the day here, I'm unbelievably proud of our players, proud of the way that they represent Wheaton football and what our program is and what it stands for, and just grateful to be in this position and have another week to play with these guys.
Questions? Coach, talk about the last drive. What is the message right before you sent that offense out there?
Yeah, we didn't talk a whole lot. So coming out of the halftime, I felt like we were in a spot offensively, and I reminded them after we scored on the first possession of the second half that all we were doing was calling what was on our game plan. We weren't trying to come up with unique things. We felt like we had a pretty good idea of what the Wartburg defensive identity was, where its vulnerabilities were going to be, and we were going to be able to attack some of those things. So knowing that, that was a message that we reiterated a handful of times through the course of the second half, to trust what we had prepared for, to go out and execute. Candidly, I was impressed with our ability to throw the ball today. I wasn't sure we were going to be able to do it quite that effectively. I asked Mark going into warm-ups how he felt about it, and his confidence was kind of what got us to trust in our ability to go out there and do it, and I think our receivers made a ton of catches. So I think it was 5:01 on the clock when Wartburg scored, and in an ideal world, we were going to consume all of the clock on that drive, and we didn't quite accomplish it. It was a little sketchier there in the last 24 seconds than maybe we would have liked, but we did more or less what we wanted to in terms of eating all the clock and obviously finishing with the touchdown there.
The touchdown play, that was something you hadn't ran all day. Was that something just had in your back pocket?
Yeah, so people familiar with our program would recognize that from our 2023 win over Wash U on a 2-point conversion. That one stays in the satchel of tricks for moments like these, and we felt like we had a good idea of what we were going to get defensively. There's going to be an opportunity for us to create an advantage from a leverage perspective on the perimeter. I don't think that when we have number 4 running full speed across the formation, he can be ignored, and there's some good eye candy there before we went out the back door and Matt found his way into pay dirt.
Matt, what did you see on that play?
I just saw Riley Howard coming down and just smacking the defender. That play's not happening without Riley Howard, so he really just did a great job there with that play. Like that, all credit goes to Riley there in the line.
Did it feel, guys, anybody that feel like this was going to be who had the ball last? Because that second half played out. Whoever had the ball last was going to win. I'm sorry. I guess all of Wartburg had the ball.
Yeah, I don't know that we were necessarily thinking about it that way. I alluded to our challenges to our team at breakfast this morning, and the second thing I talked to our guys about, we read the story of Benaiah walking into the Lions pit on a snowy day, and that was going to be our mission. The challenge I shared to our team was that we're choosing the pit. We're not waiting for the line to come to us. We're going to go get it. The second thing was that our posture was going to be that we were going to dictate to the conditions in the way that we went and we attacked the football game. And the third thing was that this moment wasn't going to be something that made us great. It was going to reveal what we have worked at and what's been forged in the identity of this team through the course of the past year.
Mark, you guys had a lot of success coming out of halftime with the RPO. Is that something you saw differently, or what led to that success?
Yeah, that was really just our coaches coming in and the coaches up in the box. Coach Scott kind of coming over and just letting us know that there really wasn't anything we were changing coming out in that second half. We were just kind of getting back to the basics, just letting us know to trust our reads, trust what, like Coach Scott said, we've been doing all week in practice. So we just kind of came out, shot ourselves in the foot a couple times in the first half, but kind of regrouped and just came out ready to take care of the fundamentals in the second half.
Calvin, you were in on a lot of plays defensively all over the field. What worked for you today, and what, if any, did the field conditions and the snow present as challenges for you? Or
Yeah, definitely. Well, throughout the week, our coaches put us in a great game plan, kind of knowing what we think they like, preparing for it the best way possible. And then obviously with the conditions, we thought, hey, it's going to be smash mouth football. They're going to have to run the ball maybe more than they would like to. And when they have chances to throw, we're going to have to just keep the top on and, find a way. And I think our coaches put us in a great position where we kind of saw a lot of what we thought we were going to see, and our game plan was able to capitalize on it.
When we were coming in, you guys talked about that it's the craziest conditions you've played in. I think, Mark, you were the one that said that. What did it feel like? Was it the experience good or positive, or was it just such a challenge that you were just like, we're here and let's go? What were, for any of the three, what were your thoughts on just playing in that kind of condition?
The experience was definitely memorable, for sure. We all kind of talked about, like, this would be a game we'd remember for the rest of our lives, but at the end of the day, the mindset was kind of just like, we're just going to have to go out there and play. Conditions are the same for both teams, so at the end of the day, you just got to go out there and do it.
Yeah, I think here at the end, I'd just reiterate that my pride in all of our players, I communicated that to them at the end. And I think it's significant over the course of the past 2 weeks. The guys that have spoken at our football chapel on Friday night have challenged our team about what we define as success. And obviously we accomplished what we wanted to from a scoreboard perspective this afternoon. But from a programmatic perspective, I challenged our guys in the huddle after the game to remember what distinguishes Wheaton football. It's that Wheaton written across their chest, and more importantly, it's the name of Jesus inscribed on their hearts. And that's something that I hope we represented well in the way that we competed today, and the resolve that our guys put on display, and something that I hope echoes far beyond the field that we played out here this afternoon.